Here are some important principles to remember as you teach phonological awareness skills to your students. All activities need to focus on the speech sounds, not on any printed words. Only after students have learned to work with the sounds should you introduce letters. Experts suggest doing a few short activities for 5 to 10 minutes per day for about 12 to 20 weeks. Finally, it is important for students to have an awareness of what their mouth is doing. As they make various sounds, show them how to pay attention to their mouth, teeth, tongue, and lips. For example, you could ask, where are your front teeth when you make the f sound? They should be resting on your bottom lips. Using a small handheld mirror is helpful for students to see exactly what their mouth is doing, and this helps them make sounds more accurately. So when you are teaching phonological routines, follow the development of phonological skills that we discussed in the 3 stages of phonological awareness. For example, syllable deletion comes after syllable blending and segmentation because it is more difficult, and it should be taught after that. Secondly, correct students immediately if they make a mistake. For example, if they give a letter name instead of a letter sound, explain the difference between the name and sound and ask them for the correct response. A gradual release method is important. First, show students the method. Then you practice the method together. Then supervise while students take turns to respond. Finally, students learn better with a multisensory approach. A multisensory approach could include bodily movement using hands, arms, whole body, and so on. In the next few slides, I will demonstrate some specific routines using a multisensory approach. We will begin with visuals or pictures. Then, as the student gets more proficient, we will use hand gestures. After that, we will use manipulatives such as colored chips or blocks. When the student demonstrates proficiency with the manipulatives, we can remove all these scaffolds and the activities can be conducted only verbally. Here's one way you can use visuals with rhyming. Ask your students this question. Which word rhymes with cat? Is it star or hat? And then you can provide students with flashcards or images to help them understand what words they are trying to rhyme. So show them that the word is cat, and they need to decide if star sounds like the word cat or hat sounds like the word cat. The answer is hat. Now these flashcards have words on them. They don't need to have words on them. You can just show them images. However, it does not hurt to have words on them as well. Another way you can use visuals is with syllable deletion. For example, tell your student, say football. Now say it again, but don't say ball. And then show them these pictures. Football is made up of the word foot and ball. If we take away ball, we get foot. So these images help the student think about the 2 parts of the word and to remove one part visually. Another way you can use visuals is in phoneme segmentation. Here's a question you can ask. Say fish. Now, what are the sounds in fish? So remember, to segment means we're going to separate, right? So show them a picture of a fish. If you notice on this image, there are dotted lines down the middle. You can cut across those. So if you have a picture, you can cut it into different parts. The word fish has 3 sounds. F, I, sh. So it is going to be cut into 3 parts. F, I, sh. Each of these cut out parts represents 1 sound in the word fish. So the student can see that there are 3 sounds in the word fish, just like it is divided into 3 pictures. After a student has used visuals for a while, you can move them along to just using gestures with your hands. For example, let's try gestures with syllable blending. Say star. Now say fish. Now let's put them together. What word? So as you say this, hold out one fist and say star. Then hold out your other fist and say fish. Then you're going to put them together. Star, fish, and my word is starfish. You can also use gestures for phoneme blending. For example, say G. Now say O. Now let's put them together. What word? So, just like the other example, with your first fist, say the sound G. Then hold out your second fist and say the sound O. Then put them together. G, O makes go. When you slide your fists together, it shows them that you are blending. You are moving them together so you can combine the sounds. Here are some examples of other manipulatives or items you can utilize to help students substitute, blend, and otherwise manipulate the parts of speech. These items are colored chips, felt squares, and colored blocks, but you could really use any item that is available, such as buttons or pebbles, as long as they are similar in shape and size. Here's one way you can use these manipulatives in phoneme segmentation and isolation. We're going to pretend like we're using those colored chips from the previous slide and use them to help us with phoneme segmenting and isolation. For example, tell your students, say the word cat. Let's sound it out. K, at. With each sound they say, they can move one colored chip up into the above box. K, at. Then you can ask them, what is the first sound of the word? And they will point to the K. We can also use these chips for phoneme blending. Say the sounds S, T, A, P. S, T, A, P. Then ask your student, what word do I have? Have them point at the first chip. And then they should drag their finger across the box like this. As they do so, they can say the sounds. Stop, stop. That's just one example of using these chips for phoneme blending. You can use these manipulatives for phoneme substitution as well. Tell your student, say the word top. Have them sound it out. T, A, P. Then have them blend it. Top. Now tell them, now say top, but change the first sound to P. So they will remove that T sound and they'll replace it with the P. What word do I have? P. P. Pop. So notice how in this situation, the middle sound and the last sound are represented by the same color. The first sound is represented by two different colors because we change the sound from a T to a P. So I used a different color so that students would not get it confused. So you can always choose your colored chip specifically if you want them to focus on one part of the word. Finally, go completely auditory. After several weeks of using visuals, gestures, and manipulatives, phonological and phonemic awareness activities should be completely auditory. You can ask the students the same types of questions, but without those scaffolds, and they should be able to do it. For example, ask them, what is ramp without P? The answer is ram. So all those activities demonstrated can be standalone lessons, but ideally would be best incorporated into a reading lesson. Students can practice orally blending, segmenting, deleting, and substituting the words from your lesson before they learn to read them. You can also adapt these routines to work with much longer words. Students will continue to benefit from these activities even when reading multisyllabic words. In conclusion, phonemic and phonological awareness activities provide readers with the skills to understand and manipulate speech sounds. This is because the activities cultivate the ability to think about the internal details of the spoken word. That understanding is essential to helping them decode and manipulate written text.